Hello and welcome back to the Homestead. Today we are starting a batch of freeze-dried apples and making a homemade cherry pie. But first, here is a video from our video sponsor, Anywhere Cam. Good morning and welcome back to the Homestead. Today we are installing our new Anywhere Cam Wi-Fi solar camera. Look at this beautiful thing. Our old camera is going out. If you can see the red and blue flashing lights, it's been going out for a while. So we're replacing it with one of these Anywhere cams. We originally ordered a 4G camera and thought that was going to work for us, but unfortunately because of all our tree cover, we just couldn't get a stable connection. So we called Anywhere Cam and they have amazing customer service, you guys. Within 15 minutes, they had a Wi-Fi camera ready to go and already shipped out to us to replace the 4G camera. So we're gonna get this set up and see how it works. So the main reason that we went with the Anywhere Cam is because it is solar charged. So you can see we had wires running everywhere. It'll be a lot easier for us to not have that. And another reason is because we get some harsh winters up here, and every single time it snows or it has a heavy rain, this other camera would go out. And Anywhere Cam is known for their weather durability. So I'm excited about that. Also, you guys, they have a 30-day return policy, so if something does go wrong, you can easily contact them and return it, and their customer service, like I said, is very good. All right, now that we've got it installed, let's see how it works. Okay, so we're gonna click on Eagle Wi-Fi. Oh, there we go, we're connected. You see me waving, look at that. All right, so I've invested the kids' help. They are pitting all of the cherries for me. We've got the main cherry part going here and all the pits are going over here into this bowl. And I am cutting up the apples to freeze dry. So what we're doing here is we're using sugar bee apples that we picked up from our local fruit stand yesterday. These are super sweet and delicious. I've got them all washed here and I am just cutting them around the cores and then slicing them nice and thin. I am saving all of the cores because we are going to use this half-gallon jar here and we're gonna make some apple scrap vinegar when we get all done. The slices here, I'm putting them into some lemon water. For every cup of water you use a tablespoon of lemon juice and it'll help prevent browning on your apples. So we are gonna cut these up, put these in the water. Progress so far. It's looking good, you guys. All right, look at that progress. It took about half of the apples to get this bowl filled, and I think there's gonna be plenty of here to fill the 4 trays. So we're gonna do that in just a minute, but first I've got my jar here full of all my apple cores. I made them all fit. I even cut some of the apple cores in half so they would fit. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some apple scrap vinegar. And to do that, we are going to mix a tablespoon of sugar for every cup of water and just pour it over the top of our apples. And then we're gonna make sure that they are submerged completely, put a filter over the top of them, and then we're gonna let them sit for a couple weeks and ferment. Once they've sat for a while, we'll strain off the liquid from the apples, and then we'll let it ferment for about 6 to 8 weeks, and then we'll have our apple scrap vinegar finished. Got our water, we're gonna put sugar in there. Gonna dissolve it a little bit. This as a weight. Oh, I probably put too much in there actually. There we go. Get that all the way down. Take out just a little bit more. I want to be able to put a rim on the top of this. Perfect. Figured we had the apples, so.
Well, we use a lot of apple cider vinegar too for our chickens when we get those going too.
Yep, so I'm gonna set this in the pantry so that it can sit for a couple weeks.
Cool.
I have to put a reminder on my phone or I'm gonna forget to strain this.
Okay, you better do that.
Remind me.
Got it.
Just wanna strain the juice off of them. Don't want them to fall in the sink. Alright, so I'm just going to line these up to where they're right next to each other and see how many I can get to fit on here. Alright, we got our apples all laid out on our freeze drying trays. Look at that. We're gonna go ahead and get the freeze dryer started. And I also wanted to show you guys, we have a whole pan full of cherries here. A whole pan full of sweet cherries here, and we're gonna get our cherry pie started. All right, Nutty, here you go. All right, let's go start the freeze dryer. Two trays. All right, we are gonna hit start, and it is unfrozen. Let's close the drain. There we go, drain is closed. Yes. Food is inserted. Yes, and start. Okay, there we go. All right, for the cherry pie, I like to make my filling on the stove before I actually pour it into the pie crust and bake it in the oven. It turns out better that way. The cherry juice doesn't sop up in the crust and make it all nasty. But anyways, I like to start on the stove with my cherries and half a cup of sugar, and I'm gonna mix that together, and I'm just gonna heat it over medium heat and just let the cherries start to break down. But while that cooks, we're gonna start on our crust. The butter in with the flour. And I use my hands for this because it's easier. If you want a really flaky crust, you can freeze your butter first and then shred it into the flour. But I prefer to just stick with room temperature butter and just break it into the flour.
So you guys seen in our last video where we got the rabbits out, they're doing really well. They love this fresh grass. So we do give them an alfalfa pellet as well as a supplement, because they'll eat about 30% of their diet on grass. And they're, as you can see, this is more of a lawn, so it's not like, there's not a huge variety of grasses for them to eat. If you had more of a pasture mix, they could probably consume a little bit more and be fine on that. But we do supplement with an alfalfa pellet just because also they are meat rabbits, so we want them to grow quicker. Look, they're in the coop. They hear me talking and see me, and they will come out. See, look at that. That's funny. I love turkeys. They're probably one of our favorites. And when we get moved and everything to more property, we're definitely going to be raising more, because we do raise them for meat and sell them as well. And speaking of the next property, a small little tidbit update on the property we're trying to purchase is we just had the inspection done on it, and there was a couple of things we had concerns with, so we sent that on to the seller, and we are waiting for a response from that. So yeah, our house is still on the market. We've had a showing or two, hopefully have more here in the future, and that's kind of it right now. We need to go to the dump at least one more time, because this is just junk we've picked up around the property and whatnot. But bad news is the dump actually caught on fire yesterday, the recycle center portion of the dump. So it's like, I don't really know. And right now they're closed indefinitely, so I don't even know what that means. Like, where are we going to go dump this stuff? We could drive an hour away, but then you're talking a lot of fuel costs and more expensive to dump. So we're kind of just hanging on to it for now. Let me go check on Beth and see how she's doing with her freeze drying. Hi, what are you making now?
The crust for our cherry pie.
Ooh, it's one of my favorites actually. And then it doesn't get any better than fresh cherries.
You know, I didn't take anything out for dinner, so you might just be having cherry pie for dinner.
Cherry pie for dinner. Hey, I'm good with that. I'm sure the kids would absolutely love that.
Kids would go crazy for that.
The battery died, but we are back to watch Beth finish making this a cherry pie that I'm super excited about.
I know it's been a while since we had a pie.
Well, it has. You know, we've been trying to like not make a big mess in the house because if we have a showing or something like that,
And
it's
when
just,
I bake, I make a mess.
yeah. And she's a messy baker, messy cook, but her
Messy
food
everything.
is delicious. Like, oh man, like nothing I've ever had. And not just saying that because I have to say that. It's
You
the
do
truth.
have to say that.
Anyways,
You do have to say that.
so what now? Now you put all your cherry pie filling and everything in?
I'm actually letting the cherries cook down.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yep.
A lot of people just put the cherries in and mix them with sugar and flour and do it like you would an apple pie, but I don't know, I feel like the cherries have too much liquid in them and it ends up making the crust like soggy.
That is true.
So I like to cook them first and then put it in and bake it in the oven.
That is very true.
That's just how I like to do it.
Cool. And the kids and myself got to eat all the leftover apples that wouldn't fit in the freeze dryer, so I'm excited about that one. And the kids were because they love apples, right?
Cherry pie filling's done. I ended up having to add another half a cup of sugar. It was just too tart. And then I also added a teaspoon of vanilla, and then we just thickened it up to the consistency that I wanted. And now we're gonna pour it into our pie crust. Ooh, it's so beautiful. Make sure I get it all out. Don't break, don't break. Ah, there we go. Yay! I'm just brushing it with some egg yolk here. It'll make the top nice and brown. Okay, now we're gonna bake her in the oven until she's golden brown on top.
All done?
Yes. Like I said, she doesn't have to be beautiful to taste good.
I think it looks pretty good.
She's gonna taste good. The filling was really good, so.